This shows who he really is. That's what Sergio Perez said about Max Verstappen after the three-time world champion refused to let him pass for a mere 6th position at the Brazilian GP in 2022. This sparked some drama within the Red Bull camp, which we'll get to soon enough. But did Netflix ever mention it in their Drive to Survive series? The answer is no, and this is just one of the many moments that Netflix seemingly forgot to mention. Instead, I decided to take matters into my own hands and tell you about them. Let's get started. Number 1. Saudi Arabia Race Weekend 2022. In case you don't remember, the 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix zoomed into action on March the 27th at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. It marked the second thrilling edition of the race and the second round of the 2022 Formula 1 World Championship. Just to give you a quick rundown of what happened in the race, Max Verstappen clinched the victory while Ferrari's Charles Leclerc came in second place. But the reason I believe this event should have been mentioned in DTS has nothing to do with who won the race and who lost. You see, leading up to the race, there was some turbulence off the track. On March the 25th, an Aramco oil depot near Jeddah fell under attack by drones and missiles. There was a massive fire just about 16 kilometers away from the racing circuit during the first practice session, which could even be seen in the live TV coverage. Reports suggest that Yemen's Houthi rebels claimed responsibility for the attack. Immediately after the attack, the second practice season was delayed for 15 minutes. There was an emergency meeting between drivers, team leaders, and Formula 1 CEO Stefano Domenicali. Obviously, everyone was afraid and there were concerns about the safety of the drivers. And despite the fact that many were thinking the event would be cancelled, it wasn't. Formula 1 and the organizers made an interesting decision to proceed with the event as scheduled. But what was the reason? Couldn't they have rescheduled the event? Well, the FIA, or the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, is responsible for overseeing motorsport globally, including Formula 1, and all eyes turned to the FIA to assess the situation and decide on the safety of the event. The FIA was in close communication with security experts and authorities, weighing the risks to determine whether it was safe to carry on with the race. And the drama didn't end there. Later in the evening, the Grand Prix Drivers Association convened once more with the drivers. Ultimately, after more than 4 hours of intense discussions, all drivers reached a consensus to continue participating in the event. Reports suggest that drivers were given assurances regarding their safety and were warned about the potential repercussions of boycotting, which included the possibility of facing difficulties in leaving the country, which shortly translates to being held hostage. An official statement from Formula 1 said, "Formula 1 has been in close contact with the authorities following the situation that's occurred. They've confirmed to us that the event can continue as planned, and we'll continue to liaise with them and the teams and monitor the situation closely." How Netflix missed this entire clown fiesta is beyond me. And then we have the Brazilian GP 2022, where we saw a lot of interesting things happen. During qualifying, Kevin Magnussen managed to get a blistering lap time to secure pole position on a wet track, sparking massive celebrations at the Haas camp. Netflix unfortunately robbed us from a Gunther Steiner reaction that we all love. During the race, George Russell secured his first ever Grand Prix win, with his teammate Lewis Hamilton following closely in second place. It marks a historic moment, since it was the first time since the 2010 Canadian Grand Prix that British drivers finished first and second in a Grand Prix. At the end of the Grand Prix, we also got some interesting comments from both Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez that deserve its own section. So, more on that later. It wasn't all about action and drama, there were safety concerns too. You see, the event was scheduled after the 2022 Brazilian general election, which had caused unrest in the country. Locals reportedly protested the election results, which caused disruption of activities in the country. In fact, some protesters even blocked the team's logistic trucks belonging to Ferrari. These logistic trucks were going to the circuit from Viracopos International Airport. While some had thought the FIA would cancel the round or reschedule the race, the event went ahead as planned. Now, onto the very interesting Red Bull drama. But before that, we'd love it if you could subscribe to the channel. It'll help us a lot to bring you new and improved content. Number 3. Max Verstappen vs Sergio Perez drama. It all started back in the 2021 season, when Sergio Perez faced a challenging transition to Red Bull racing. Although he struggled to adapt to the new car, he played a crucial role in the season's climax, notably during the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Checo showcased some very special defensive driving, slowing down Hamilton to give his teammate, Max Verstappen, a chance to rejoin the title fight. Verstappen capitalized on the opportunity, ultimately clinching his first ever championship. Team principal Christian Horner had a lot of praise for Perez's contribution. However, tensions began to brew in the 2022 season. With his improved performance, Perez was claiming victory in a few races, which was becoming a threat to Verstappen's title chances. The breaking point came at the Spanish Grand Prix, where Red Bull secured a 1-2 finish. During the race, Perez was faster and wanted to overtake Verstappen. On the other hand, Verstappen was battling George Russell for second place. Despite Perez's request to his team to let him pass, Verstappen held his ground. Later, team orders instructed Perez to yield to his teammates, something that he labeled as unfair. After this event, tensions escalated further in the final two races of the 2022 season. Verstappen was already crowned champion and Red Bull secured the constructors' title. The focus shifted to the battle for second place in the drivers' standings between Perez and Charles Leclerc. In Brazil, on the final lap, both Perez and Verstappen were out of podium contention, with Verstappen running in P6 and Perez in P7. Switching positions could have benefited Perez's quest for second place in the driver's standings. However, when the team asked Verstappen to do so, he refused, stating very furiously on the radio, "I told you already last time, you guys don't ask that again to me, okay? Are we clear about that? I gave my reasons and I stand by it." This of course sparked interest among F1 fans and the media, and the rumor mill started turning. To find out the reason, we have to go back all the way to the 2022 Monaco GP. During qualifying, Perez was running in first with the clock running out. Suddenly, before the famous tunnel, Perez seemingly lost the car, causing a red flag and ending the session to claim a better starting position than Max. This moment is apparently what caused tensions within the Red Bull camp. Verstappen is of belief that Checo spun out on purpose, which he obviously didn't like. Now, why did Netflix decide not to give this a mention? Nobody knows. Now, to one of our favorite drivers, a legend in the world of F1. Fernando Alonso, Giga Chat, Meme Lord, whatever you want to call him. This is a man who has won 32 Grand Prix, earned 22 pole positions, and scored 2,267 points from 377 starts. More than anything, a funny character. Him and Ocon don't seem to see eye to eye on a lot of things. But why? The journey started with Alonso and Ocon being teammates at Alpine, and their journey reached its peak at the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, where Alonso's defensive skills helped Ocon secure his maiden F1 win. It was a huge accomplishment for the Alpine team. However, what began as a strong partnership soon turned into a bitter rivalry between the two drivers. It all started at the Spanish Grand Prix, when Ocon, who's no stranger to being aggressive versus teammates, fiercely defended his position against Alonso, nearly resulting in a collision as they fought for P7. Their on-track battles kept fueling the rivalry. However, Ocon apparently respected Alonso. In June 2023, he was speaking to AS about his relationship with Alonso and said, "The press likes to talk a lot, but everything's going well. I have enormous respect for him, and it'll always be that way. Now we compete close. Not as close as we'd like, but we do compete on the track. Fernando is having a fantastic season. I respect him. I have no doubt that he is still at his best. I've competed with him in recent years, and he shows everyone that he is one of the best ever. Hats off to him." Fast forward to the 2023 F1 Brazilian Grand Prix Sprint Shootout in November, the rivalry took another dramatic turn. Despite now being on separate teams, Alonso and Ocon found themselves entangled in a crash, which occurred when Ocon lost control of his car and slammed into Alonso's. The impact left Alonso's car heavily damaged, and what happened afterward? Well, Ocon, who should have accepted his mistake, lashed out at Alonso. He even called him an idiot over the team radio.
Okay, mate, you okay?
Idiot, Fernando.
You okay?
Yeah.
And all of this happened even though onboard camera footage revealed that it was Ocon at fault. The footage also revealed that he had ample space to navigate the corner. And what about Alonso? Well, he remained calm and said that the incident happened because of sheer bad luck. Alonso has also made several digs at his former teammates. He's claimed, "When there's an Alpine, you have to be extra careful," probably talking about Ocon's very aggressive driving style. He's also joked saying free practice is his moment, after Ocon once again drove very aggressively in a practice session. Drive to Survive, which thrives on the drama, once again missed a golden nugget. Number 5. Verstappen Sky Sports boycott. "You keep disrespecting me, and at one point I'm not tolerating it anymore, so that's why I decided to stop answering," Max Verstappen said back in October 2022 when he decided to boycott Sky Sports. The reason? Well, he was unhappy about some comments made by pundit Ted Kravitz. You see, Kravitz had stated in his Ted's Notebook showbook after the US Grand Prix in Austin that Lewis Hamilton was robbed of the 2021 title. And if you don't remember, Verstappen is the one who beats Hamilton through a very controversial final race in the 2021 championship. He passed Hamilton on the final lap of the final race in a controversial finish. Here, it's important to note that the FIA did own up to a major blunder caused by former race director Michael Massey's human error. This human error was the reason behind a botched restart procedure and a nail-biting one-lap sprint finish. Massey paid the price for his mistake and was promptly sacked from his position. In the midst of all this drama, pundit Kravitz added a touch of Hollywood flair by imagining a scenario which is interesting to imagine. He said, Hamilton doesn't win a race all year, and then finally comes back at a track where he could win the first race all year, battling the same guy who won the race he was robbed in the previous year and manages to finish ahead of him. What a script in a story that would have been. But that's not the way the script turned out today, was it? Because the guy that beat him after being robbed actually overtook him, because he's got a quicker car, because of engineering and Formula 1 and design, and pretty much because of Adrian Newey, Red Bull's lead car designer over there. And this wasn't the first time Verstappen found himself battling with the media. He'd previously boycotted Netflix over their portrayal of driver rivalries in Drive to Survive. He said that he felt it didn't do justice to his journey to his first championship, and he barely made an appearance in the series covering the 2021 season. Moreover, Red Bull boss Christian Horner also boycotted Sky Sports and showed his support for Verstappen. He said, I think an accusation of championships being robbed is something that we don't feel as an impartial commentary. That is, we don't feel in any way fair or balanced. Max was very upset about it, and as a team, we support him fully. We were equally upset about it. As a team, we took the decision this weekend. I took the decision that we'll have a weekend off. And how did this boycott end? Well, Red Bull later said that the boycott was not a long-term thing. Instead, it was about making a one-off stance. Speaking of interesting moments that have happened in F1, feel free to check out our video on why we believe that Oscar Piastri will be McLaren's #1 driver very soon.